Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Infinity and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course the law of attraction. As you can probably hear in my voice, and as you may have seen in my most recent post here on YouTube or on Instagram, I am feeling a bit under the weather, so I do apologize in advance. My energy levels are a bit depleted and so is my voice, so this likely will not be a very lengthy reading today. I also will not be posting an extended version for this reading. If you are already a patron on my Patreon membership site, please be aware that I am pausing the September billing cycle for my Patreon. So this means that if you are signed up or you do sign up, September will be a free month for my extended readings, just because I haven't been as regular with my posting schedule. So I also do just want to give a huge thank you, because I posted on Instagram today just sharing about how I wasn't feeling the best, and so many of you were outpouring love, support, positive energy, and I swear I instantaneously felt an uptick in my own energy. I felt all of you powerful healers out there sending positive love, light, and healing vibes my way. So thank you so much for those of you who took the time to set the positive intention for my healing. And I do promise that I will be posting again much more regularly as soon as I'm feeling 100%. But with that being said, the reason this surprise video is coming out here late at night as I'm recording this is because all day, in spite of being sick, I have been being nagged over and over to do this reading, or I'm not even sure if it's going to be a reading. It really might be in part an explanation, a kind of predictive sort of message for twin flames who will find this video, who will be drawn to this video. But I am going to use energy oracle cards as a tool throughout this reading as well, which, by the way, all of the cards that I use are linked under this video now. You can purchase the exact ones that I have on Amazon if you are interested in incorporating them into your own practice. But the reason I'm creating this video, and really specifically what I felt called to speak on, and why this message is so urgent, because if it wasn't urgent, I probably wouldn't be recording while sick. But it is very urgent, and not just urgent, but also I'm feeling time sensitive. I feel that this is something someone needs to hear right now whenever they find this video. And the message is regarding karmic cycles and karmic patterns that are being brought to the surface in the twin flame collective for the purpose of being cleared out. Now, let me clarify, although I know many of you have watched a lot of my channel, are familiar with karmic cycles and patterns, but I do want to clarify what I mean when I speak on karmic situations. Very often within the twin flame community, we think of karmics as being a person, specifically a third-party romantic energy that we consider to be somewhat interfering, although that's really not an entirely accurate word, because nothing can truly interfere with our twin flame connection. This is a very protected divine connection. But to our ego and to our human self, this feels like an interference. And many of these cycles, which again can be in the form of a person, a third-party romantic, but not necessarily, and many of these things are coming to the surface. Now, besides being a person, which of course can be the case, these karmic cycles can also be negative thought patterns, negative behaviors, negative dynamics within our relationship. They can actually even be past energies coming back literally into our life, such as ex-lovers, ex-flings, ex-relationships, or even potentially in our dreams. We could be having dream experiences where we are processing these karmic energies. So, for example, when I posted posted on Instagram. By the way, my Instagram is at Magnetize Yourself if you would like to follow me there. On my story today, I shared a little bit of preliminary thoughts about this subject, about these karmic cycles being brought to the surface to be healed. And I asked for your thoughts, and many of you responded to that post and said that you had experienced this same energy, past karmic people, situations, cycles coming to the surface in a more intense way. Now, I personally felt this culminate with the full moon energies we experienced a few days ago. I would love if you could let me know in the comments if you've been experiencing anything that resonates with the things that I'm saying, and if so, when it has happened, if it happened more recently for you or even further back. I know some of you said that karmic cycles really came to a head a month or two ago for you. By the way, I just heard someone's person saying in my head, on a higher self level, you know me already. So specifically, I'm feeling that someone's energy I'm channeling here could be struggling specifically with the identity of their twin flame, meaning confusion regarding, is this my twin? Is this not my twin? Is this a karmic? I just see these literal clouds of confusion swirling around this person's energy. I also feel that for someone I'm connecting with, this confusion could be partially rooted in the opinions, ideas, or voices of others, because I see these voices and opinions literally like strings that are attaching to you, that are pulling you different directions. So I feel someone could be feeling very indecisive because of this feeling of being pulled in many different directions in some sense. And again, throughout this reading, I am channeling many different energies and specific twin flame couples. So be sure to only take what resonates with you, if it resonates with you, and always consult your own heart and soul to find that resonance. So another thing that I want to say is, and this is just something I channeled just now, but when it comes to karmic cycles, what many of us don't realize is these are not just mental patterns. These aren't just behavior patterns that come from the mind. These aren't just people that become stuck in our mind. Literally, karmic patterns, cycles, romantic people, exes, whoever it is, these people literally become attached to our aura, to our energy field, and must be purged out of our energy field, literally out of our physical body, almost like exorcising a kind of negative energy. And I'm not saying that these karmic people are in themselves inherently negative. I'm saying that when it comes to a karmic situation with a third-party romantic karmic in the twin flame connection, it's not that either of these people in the situation are inherently negative or bad. It's that their connection with one another is there to teach them some kind of lesson. It is not their divine love connection, but there is something there to be learned. But very often, we break up with the person without learning the lesson. We disconnect from the place without fully connecting with the reason we were drawn there in the first place. We stop doing the behavior pattern for a time, but we leave that pattern in our energy field so that the next time we feel unsafe, insecure, vulnerable, or afraid, we actually cycle back into that old pattern. We keep these things, essentially we retain these karmic cycles and patterns within us, even if we aren't acting on them, until we choose to purge them. Now, these become sort of like blocks or like ties binding twin flames away from each other, if you want to think of that in kind of a spiritual sense. So very often we become confused because these cycles come up, these people come back into our lives, these behaviors within ourselves even become reflected, mirrored back to us in our twin, and we have to face them. And we ask ourselves, why is this happening now? Because from our physical 3D conscious human perspective, to us, it looks like everything was smooth sailing, and then all of a sudden we're feeling super triggered or super confused, when the truth is, Although it appeared to be smooth sailing from our ego's perspective, beneath the surface invisibly, we still had all of these karmic cycles, karmic patterns, karmic attachments stored within our energy field that were preventing us from fully embodying the highest version of ourselves and therefore being fully magnetic for our twin flame connection, being able to build a strong, solid foundation both energetically and then manifested in the physical with our twin. So very often on a higher self level, we choose to bring these things to light, not just individually, but with our twin as well. We contract with one another. Prior to this lifetime, okay, at this time, in this way, this pattern will present itself for the purpose of being healed, because we knew we at that point would be capable of shifting that pattern, of breaking that cycle, of purging that so-called karmic energy from our aura, from our energy field. However, like any purging process, the actual day-to-day experience of releasing these karmic energies is extremely confusing at times and sometimes even viscerally painful. And I'm saying that because I want to empathize with many of you in the collective who within especially the last 6 months, 3 months, even just the last few months over the summer have been experiencing situations that have called you to release more than you ever thought you had been capable of or willing to release, that have called you to see yourself in a more vulnerable way, than to show up in a more vulnerable way, in a more raw, authentic way than you've ever had to in the past. And I know that many of you listening are asking yourselves why, are asking why now, why us, why me, and getting into this cycle, this very human, natural cycle of self-pitying, of victim mentality when it comes to these triggers or karmic cycles or situations coming up in the twin flame connection. And whenever we get into these cycles of self-pity, we actually are sacrificing our own power, diluting our own power, forgetting who we truly are. So my intention through this video and reading, although I did say it was kind of a blend between a podcast and a reading because I felt that I needed to explain my thoughts on all of that, but I also do now want to use the energy oracle cards to channel some more specific messages to guide us along here. But I did just really feel the need to share all of that. I really hope that resonated with some of you. So in the love word scramble, which by the way is just where I channel specific random words that connect with the reading, the word opposite came out. For some reason I heard opposites attract, or I heard there could be something about your person that feels very opposite about what you wanted, or very opposite from you, or something like that. So, okay, a card just flew out. Man holding a heart in the reverse position. I heard a divine masculine specifically saying, I feel like I'm losing you. I feel you slipping away. I saw him reaching out almost as though he was sleeping, but reaching out in his sleep. This could actually be symbolic of someone's masculine who is still a bit spiritually asleep, but he finds himself reaching out metaphorically in spite of being spiritually asleep or less awakened in the situation. Reaching out for the love he knows is his divine connection and his path. In spite of still being somewhat unconscious, it's like, I'm reaching for you, I'm trying. Yeah, third chakra in the upright position. This masculine I'm connecting with here is really in need of deep level solar plexus healing, specifically connected with his core inner confidence, ability to set boundaries, to show up in a powerful way. For some reason I'm hearing there could be a masculine who's been feeling very weak and then feeling shame for feeling weak, or feeling shame for feeling vulnerable. And whenever this happens, this specific masculine may close himself off because his own vulnerability actually terrifies him. And part of this comes down to this solar plexus imbalance, because when he's still working on fully developing that core confidence from within, it's harder to feel safe in his vulnerability. So I want to know where this issue is coming from. Okay, so hostilities. I just heard like I'm always geared up or ready for a fight. I feel someone's adrenaline pumping through their veins, specifically a divine masculine child who always was on guard, always had his defenses up. I feel that this divine masculine specifically could have come from a family environment where there was a lot of tension, hostility, or arguing. Goddess of the moon in the reverse position. And because of this, I feel this masculine had to really disconnect from his intuitive, sensitive side as a survival mechanism, because I just heard the phrase, a flower growing through concrete. And I actually feel that both twin flames I'm connecting with here could feel connected deeply in some sense to this metaphor, but I do feel it may apply more strongly at this time for a masculine I'm connecting with who feels as though they were someone trying to grow. Oh, wow, I felt a wave of just sadness wash over me, like I'm about to cry, connecting with this masculine's energy. This masculine was trying to grow in a very harsh environment. He was that flower trying to poke up through the cracks of the sidewalk, and the sidewalk was a very harsh childhood, potentially environment, or if not childhood, early formative experiences. I just heard that like broke me, that shattered me. And because of that, this masculine had to really disconnect from his sensitive side. I heard military. There could be a masculine who was in the military, but I'm just hearing like this masculine could not show up in a vulnerable way or be sensitive, because I just heard vulnerability is weakness. Someone may have literally even told this masculine this. The word angry came out in the love word scramble. Also the words older and factory. Yeah, the card that came out just now is broken heart in reverse. And specifically what I heard is, I broke my own heart. And I'm feeling this kind of move forward in time for this masculine, because we were speaking on inner child wounds, which may come from childhood for this masculine, or more specifically could even come from later in life. An inner child wound doesn't necessarily have to be early childhood. This could be any kind of formative experiences that set the tone for how this masculine views himself, his relationships, and his place in the world. And with this broken heart, I broke my own heart. I'm feeling a fast forward here, and this masculine is now older, specifically in the present day. And actually, I'm seeing a masculine who's much, much older later on in life, who's looking back with regret, thinking, and it's like, okay, this is a complex message, but it's almost like this divine masculine is in the present, imagining himself as an older man or an older masculine if he's not literally a biological man. And he's imagining himself looking back wistfully at what he lost with his divine feminine, because it's like, I just hear him say, it's like that image again, I'm asleep, but I'm reaching out for you, even though I'm a bit unconscious at times, and I know that. And I'm sorry for the ways that I hurt you in my unconsciousness. But truly what's happening here is I'm breaking my own heart when I'm losing you. And I don't want to look back with regret because I lost you, because I lost the one thing. I just heard this masculine poetically saying like the one thing that meant everything to me. He's very, very emotional at this time. In fact, I feel the masculine I'm connecting with here may actually be far more emotional than he fully lets on to the divine feminine. That's kind of what I'm getting. I want to know what's going on the divine feminine side of things. Angel of Strength in the upright position. I actually want to read a little bit about this card because I'm not yet sure how it connects. Personal power and inner strength. For some reason I heard hyper independence. There could be a divine feminine listening to this reading who is covering or distracting from her wounding with hyper independent tendencies. So what I mean by this is there could be some deeper level healing work she needs to do here on herself. But I feel, and again, this won't be everyone, but some feminine I'm connecting with, it's like her go-to protective mechanism, like a defense mechanism, a survival mechanism. Just like for the masculine, his survival mechanism we spoke to was disconnecting from his softness, his intuitive side. For this divine feminine, her defense mechanism is to become hyper independent, to overachieve, to overcompensate, in part to distract herself. I just heard, I'm trying to distract myself from the heartbreak, from the pain that I'm feeling. I feel there's a feminine whose intuition is like screaming about something, but she's not fully connecting with it because she's trying to distract herself from the hurt through, again, these potentially hyper-independent tendencies. I just heard hyper-masculinity, so this could be a divine feminine who's been getting a little bit out of balance in her energy because I just heard I lost faith that things could be effortless for me. This won't be for everyone, but there could be a feminine who feels like because of something that could have happened in her life or in this connection recently, she somehow lost trust in the universe or in the divine forces within her or in her own ability to effortlessly attract what she wanted or deservingness. I'm also hearing like, I'm not sure anymore what I'm worthy of or what I'm deserving of. I'm feeling so triggered. Like I feel this divine feminine being very triggered, but then covering that triggering instead of delving into it and finding the root cause of it, she is overcompensating in some way. And again, only take this if it connects with you. I know that we're all in very different places along our journey. In the collective energies I'm channeling, there's always a spectrum. So I like to try to make a differentiation when I speak to the ego self, the physical self, versus the so-called spiritual self or the soul self. And as I was speaking there, the Healer of the Ages card came out here. Wow, I feel a very powerful message coming for this divine feminine. By the way, I just saw 2222 on the recording timer. That could be a significant number for you. But I specifically heard you, divine feminine, listening, connecting with this message. You are that healer of the ages. And when I saw the word ages, I specifically heard the word generations. You are healing generational wounding, generational traumas, and that is why they do not understand you. I just heard your ancestors are with you. I feel you may be someone who has always felt very divinely guided, very spiritually surrounded or protected. You may even feel a strong spiritual connection to certain relatives who have passed on. And the reason for this is because your ancestors are, in a sense, surrounding you, cheering you on. And what you need to know, I just heard this divine feminine saying, I was born different, and sometimes in spite of myself, I don't want to be different anymore. I want to just fit in. I want to just be liked. I want to be understood. And I hear a voice responding back here, you didn't come here to be understood. You came here to understand yourself, your true soul self, and in doing so, to understand the generational curses, the traumas that were passed down through your family's line, and not just that, but causes of so much pain and suffering in the world. Essentially, spiritual diseases that keep people trapped. You came here not to be understood, but to understand, to become conscious of all of those patterns of wounding and to hurt and triggering so that you could show the world something different. And I just heard something you at times feel they are not ready for or are not ready to accept or willing to accept. I feel you may be someone who, especially lately, has felt somewhat isolated or like an outcast, or at the least someone who isn't fully heard, seen, and understood by the people around them. But remember, light workers are scattered across the earth for a reason, strategically placed in areas of intense darkness in order to more significantly share their light. That is why you feel so alone, because you were strategically placed in a space, in a time, in a family, in a situation that would cause you to experience intense darkness so you could learn how to confront, face, and transmute the darkness within yourself, and then later the darkness within others, within the world, the planet at large. You are a light worker. You are highly empathic. I just keep hearing a voice over and over say, remember who you are and do not let anyone make you forget. Now, as I was speaking, 2 cards came out, Door to Romance and Patience in the reverse position. Clear message here. There's a divine feminine who, from her 3D physical perspective, doesn't quite realize that the door to romance is actually already in the process of opening for her. But I feel this may not fully be manifesting for some of you in the physical yet. And because of this, I feel the ego here becoming impatient. And even at times trying to push this divine feminine to, I just heard, lash out, to act out, to take some kind of rash action, to try to push things along through her logic, or to try to act out from that hurt, overcompensated space of hyper independence that we spoke on earlier. And I feel that I have a message for this divine feminine. What does this divine feminine need to know at this time? Wow, deep grounding breath, everyone. First chakra, the root chakra card came out here. The reason this connection, this love connection, is not opening for you in the time or in the way that your ego wants it to is because this is not in accordance with divine timing, the timing that you know because you set yourself with your person on a soul level. But you've forgotten because the world has confused you. The world has distracted you from this truth, from this divine knowing. Reconnect with that. And specifically with this root chakra card, I'm hearing part of the reason that this divine timing seems so off to your ego, or things feel so wrong, so confusing, or so delayed, is because what is happening here is something very powerful. Divine feminine, whoever you are connecting with this, I see you building a very strong foundation with your person. And whatever you're going through right now with your person is actually necessary for you to build this foundation. I just heard sustainable. So there's something here where if things were to move forward the way you think from an ego perspective you want them to, it wouldn't be sustainable, meaning it wouldn't be built to last, even though your ego thinks it would be, because energetically the foundation would be shaky, because that deeper level healing that has to take place within you and within your twin, that must happen first. We must lay that energetic foundation first within ourselves, and then the physical manifestation of that love connection our ego so desires to be validated by will come. Now a card just flew out. Let me collect that. Community in the upright position. I just heard a voice say, there will be others. And I also heard, you felt you were an outcast, but really you were an example. Beautiful energy, soul, whoever is connecting with this reading right now, you need to know that you are feeling so different from other people because you were meant to be different. And as humans, as a society, it's really almost an evolutionary instinct that if we perceive ourselves to be different, we instantly feel as though there is something defective about us. But the opposite is true for you. The things you believe about yourself to be defective, your ability to feel, to sense, to be empathic, these challenging experiences associated with your spiritual awakening, your twin flame path that you're going through, that are causing so much confusion and chaos that at times you know other people may be judging or having opinions about. In truth, you are the shining light for your family, for I just heard like guiding lights. I saw someone literally like on a boat with a lamp leading the way through like a dark jungle or something, down a river or something like that. It's like you are leading the way for an entire family line, for an entire community. You are showing a new path, and that is not easy. You are forging a path that has never been forged before, which is why it feels like you are constantly meeting confusion, resistance. You are breaking through all of these boundaries, all of these divisions that keep us separate as humans from one another, that cause so much unconscious pain and suffering in our families, in our communities, and in our world. You thought that something was wrong with you, or something was going wrong with your life or your love connection, but really you were and are forging this new path that will actually lead by example for those around you. You are showing an example of true, pure, authentic, unconditional love for yourself, for your twin, and of course, that kind of energy is exuding outward to everyone around you, even those who aren't physically with you. Everyone who you have touched in some sense or met has felt your light. And I'm speaking that to you now because you found this video, because it's time for you to remember. You found this video for a reason. I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe in accidents. I know this has been a bit of a non-traditional reading, but it's a very intense and emotional and important message for someone. And I really hope that whoever you are, wherever you are listening to this reading, that the message found you and reached you in some kind of a meaningful way. And if it did, please do let me know in the comments. You can also give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, if any of the messages did resonate with you. If my energy connects with you, I do hope you will consider subscribing to this channel. I really am so grateful for this beautiful community of like-minded, conscious, creative beings here on YouTube. We've spoken a lot in this reading on specific energetic imbalances coming to the surface within the twin flame connection, specifically because I do specialize in twin flame connections, being a twin flame myself. And as those of you who are twin flames know, when you are a twin flame, this tends to really mark your spiritual journey from beginning to end. It is a strong underlying theme all the way through, which is why I'm so guided to speak so frequently on the twin flame path. Now, I spoke through this reading specifically on the first chakra and the solar plexus chakra. I have created several different chakra clearing subliminal meditations. For those of you who don't know, subliminals are specifically designed to bypass the conscious filter of your mind and make deeper lasting impressions on the subconscious, which is actually directly connected to our aura, to our energy field. So subliminals are a very powerful tool for clearing your energy, for clearing out specific chakra centers, or doing a comprehensive energy clearing between you and your twin, especially if you use them consistently. I always say to try meditating daily, at least once per day, with subliminals for 21 days, because it does take 21 days to fully form a new habit in the mind. All of the subliminals I've created come from my website, soundandsoulful.com. So I specifically for this reading would recommend my first chakra, the root chakra activation, and the solar plexus chakra activation subliminal, as well as a comprehensive, very deep level energy clearing subliminal I've created for twin flames called my 7 chakra twin flame clearing. So these 3 subliminal meditations are available in several different sounds on my website. As a member, you can also combine different subliminals into your own custom playlist. So all of that information is linked in the pinned comment and description box under this video. You can try out any subliminal I've created completely free for 7 days by creating a free trial account on my website. Thank you so much to each and every one of you beautiful souls who joined me today in this reading. I always say this, but it is so true that we are not only passive listeners when we listen to one another's YouTube channels or social media. We are actually co-creating here together. This channel has been entirely co-created by both myself and each and every one of you who are subscribed here. So thank you for sharing your lovely energy with me here. I hope you have a wonderful, beautiful rest of your week. Hopefully, I will be posting again soon as I continue to improve my health. And I will speak to you again in the next reading.